Everybody. Today is the 31st of July, 2026, Friday, and I'll be your host today, Sundown. My real name, Carl. So, welcome in. Appreciate you guys. Um, I just wanted to touch down first here about a situation happened over in Spain about the images we saw yesterday, and just knowing that just like what happened here in America, that's happening to them. It's actually a little worse for them though, because I saw footage of them burning and trying to get into people's homes and do a whole bunch of other things. And for them, all hope might be lost, but at least not for us. So I wouldn't let that get you down. They are in North Africa, actually. It's not Spain, the mainland. So, and Morocco has always wanted to take that part back. Spaniards have only been there since 1600s, which is a long time, but mm, you know. So I've just seen a lot of people like talking about it and very down and out about it, and I want to say their government allowed it, just like what happened here. And if anything, I hope that gives you something to fight for. I guess that's what I wanted to say on it. Just I hope that gives you something to fight for. To look, you don't have to be replaced or whatnot. You just have to stand up and say something. This is still America, and we still have a chance, and we still have a choice, and the choice is in your hands. So don't let it discourage you. Let it fuel the fire. You know what I mean? Okay. Now, I do have this prepared for us. Alex Jones and Viking. And this is about the Charlie Kirk stuff that's going on. And he lays down some pretty good facts here. I don't know if you saw it. You can go see the whole thing over on Alex Jones Live, or you can go to realalexjones.com, or you can go to Real Alex Jones on X, or on Rumble as well, the Real Alex Jones Live. So just put that out there. You can go watch this at those platforms as well. Because here I'm going to be stopping it and throwing commentary in there and my own opinion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen to what they got to say.
Yeah. I mean, so for the Charlie Kirk trial, honestly, Alex, I think it's our generation's JFK. I don't think we'll ever get the answers. I hate to say this to your audience, but I'm just being honest. I don't think we'll ever get the answers. I think we have what we have evidence-wise, and they're going to throw that in front of a jury. They're going to pray that because it's in Utah and it's a heavy, heavy religious, area that they can basically what I think that, and sorry to say this to, I know they're your friends, Benny, Tatum, Jack, I think it's just coordinated effort by TPUSA to taint the jury pool ahead of time. That's why they lied about this. That's why they said there's overwhelming evidence that you can see everything in HD. So I think what they're hoping is we're going to throw this slop in front of a jury, pray to God that, from the religious angle, they want to put him to death because, they love Charlie Kirk. I think that's the play. And it wasn't just the DNI. It wasn't just Joe Kent. It wasn't just, Tulsi Gabbard, obviously DNI. It was also the CIA that was shut down from looking into foreign involvement on this. And I think it's important, though, we look at this and we're honest with ourselves, because if we understand how the intelligence apparatus system.
So I do agree with them that this is our JFK moment, as we'll never get the full truth. Any hope of that is gone. Just like the Epstein files, we're never going to get the full truth. It's just not going to happen. It serves too many people's interest to not give us the truth. So, yeah, it's just something that's just not going to happen. I've said it from the start. It'd be nice, don't get me wrong. It'd be nice to get the truth. It'd be nice to really, just for once in our life, have the truth on something. That's why I voted for Donald Trump, because I thought that he was going to be that guy. Clearly, the deep state or whatever it is in there got to him, and well, I mean, the reality of the situation. He came out and said it was a hoax. So, but this is the same. Look, I mean, like this video does not show Tyler Robinson. It does not show anything, and it's so grainy. It makes you wonder.
Works, FBI, CIA, NSA, National Counterterrorism Center, they all sit below the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, right? She has authority over them. So the idea that Kash Patel shut down Tulsi Gabbard, the only way that that could happen, and you said it, is with presidential authority.
Yeah.
Don't know fellow Green Beret Mike Glover, who if you don't know, fellow Green Beret Mike Glover, who very, very highly respected in the Green Beret and Special Operations community, he talked about this 7 months ago. He lives in Provo, Utah, and he was also, worked in, don't quote me on this, sorry, Mike, but CIA as well, maybe for a little bit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He is friends with some very, 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 very high level people in the CIA. And they reached out to him also asking if they could possibly have help or information with he had. And he was like, why are you reaching out to me? You're the CIA. And they said, because we've been shut down by Kash Patel and the FBI from looking into this. So I want to understand, it wasn't just the DNI. It wasn't just Joe Kent. It wasn't just, Tulsi Gabbard, obviously DNI. It was also the CIA that was shut down from looking into foreign involvement on this. And I think it's important, though, we look at this and we're honest with ourselves, because if we understand how the intelligence apparatus system works, FBI, CIA, NSA, National Counterterrorism Center, they all sit below the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, right? She has authority over them. So the idea that Kash Patel shut down Tulsi Gabbard, the only way that that could happen, and you said it, is with presidential authority. So Trump is the one who shut down the investigation or had authority to give Kash Patel to do it. Kash Patel can't shut that down by himself as the director of the FBI. That's an important context. I think we need to understand what the.
That's really important, because why is a guy below somebody else able to shut down an investigation into something? So you had to have a higher up step in, shut down Tulsi Gabbard, and just use Kash Patel to do it. That's and if we're working off pure transparency, why are we shutting it down? Why are we shutting it down in the first place? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Are we trying to get to the truth, or we're not? You know what I mean? And well, clearly looks like we're not here. So,
Joe, that was so broken down for us. One of our friends, Chris Piota, who used to be the number 3 in the FBI, number 3 in rank in FBI and he was in the FBI for 25 years. He's the one that explained that to us and said, no, this is not how this works. You would have to have presidential authority to shut down Tulsi Gabbard, to force Joe Kent and the CIA to stop looking into this. I got questions of why. Why did that happen? Wasn't Charlie supposed to be all your best friends? It's so, but wouldn't you want, and another thing, Alex, even the, other Green Berets that believe the official narrative, they might not tell you anymore, but they've told me personally, they also believe in foreign involvement. They also believe in multiple people involved in this.
Yeah.
So like Matt Tardio, who I'm friends with, I disagree on everything with him, he thinks Russia was behind it. So again,
why Russia, though? Why would Russia? Charlie Kirk was no threat to Russia whatsoever. So that's kind of a weird take, but I do think there was foreign entanglement. Something somewhere just doesn't smell right, because you watch the footage, you watch everything, and you're like, this one kid, he's flagging somebody on the video yesterday. When we were watching it, he's like a white towel or white something, and he's flashing it like this. You're signaling somebody, clearly. That's a signal. That's, I'm about to do something. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? So who was he signaling? Who is he flashing that it's about to go down? Yeah, it just doesn't all add up.
Even the people who believe the official narrative still believe there was foreign involvement into this. So why is the U.S. government shutting down an investigation into foreign involvement? That is so suspicious to me. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, so for the Charlie Kirk trial, honestly, Alex, I think it's our generation's JFK. I don't think we'll ever get the answers. I hate to say this to your audience, but I'm just being honest. I don't think we'll ever get the answers. I think we have what we have evidence-wise, and they're going to throw that in front of a jury. They're going to pray that because it's in Utah and it's a...
Is that enough to really convict this guy even? Like, you can't make out any of the footage. I watched it like 3-4 times. 5, I don't know, a lot. And I couldn't make out barely anything. It was so hard. You had to like squint and look into it really hard, unless they have other evidence they're not sharing, which I did read the other day that they have some sort of like DNA evidence on the screwdriver that was used supposedly. But where in the video there does it show him using a screwdriver? It doesn't look like he's assembling the gun whatsoever. It looks like it's already pre-set up, because it doesn't look like he takes much time between laying down and taking the shot, which it would take you a couple minutes to screw everything together. It just doesn't add up.
Heavy religious, area that they can basically what I think that, and sorry to say this to, I know they're your friends, Benny, Tatum, Jack, I think it's just coordinated effort by TPUSA to taint the jury pool ahead of time. That's why they lied about this. That's why they said there's overwhelming evidence that you can see everything in HD. So I think what they're hoping is we're going to throw this slop in front of a jury, pray to God that, from the religious angle, they want to put him to death because, they love Charlie Kirk. I think that's the play. Whether that works or not, I don't know. What I do know is it's going to be one of the most divisive things in American history, no matter what. That the end of that trial, whether he's guilty or not guilty, I think is going to have massive ramifications moving forward, especially in the censorship of social media. If he's found not guilty, I believe that's when they're going to leverage the massive hammer, just like COVID. They're going to blame Candace Owens and me and Ian and you and all these people because we let a murderer get free. So now we have to bring the censorship crackdown on social media because you guys are so dangerous. Look what you did. Or the trial goes the other way. They find him guilty, and the other half, and the 98% of America that doesn't believe this now knows there was a giant government cover up. They're just killing people in plain sight, and they can just do this. And it's just going to further, make people more disillusioned in our country. So I don't think it's going to be bad no matter what.
At last, it's here. Bring it into the docking.
These stormtroopers are not warriors. They are vessels.
Yeah, they're not going to tell us the truth. And for a jury to convict him based off what I've seen and the light amount of evidence they actually have, honestly, I'll be very surprised. This dude's going to get off light, I feel, because what evidence, what proof, what reality are we bringing to the table here? I just don't see it. He didn't admit to anything that I'm aware of, and as far as I believe he's pleading not guilty. So obviously he's going in front of a jury, and usually the only time you do that is if you plead not guilty. So, and then there's video evidence, I guess, of his parents coming out and saying he had nothing to do with it, that they never actually called. That was all a hoax or something. I don't, it's mind blowing.
The intelligence and military leaders. It's a false flag attack, but Egypt analyzing drone fragments from port strike, warn of escalation. That's out of the defense post. But if you can go to Alex.
Israel. attacking another nation, trying to get them involved. That's what that is, in my opinion. It's got to be. There's no way Iran's not going to try to make enemies with people that I'm pretty sure they were friends with prior to all this. Because I don't think Egypt really has Israel's back on this, especially with what's happening in Gaza and Lebanon. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see the evidence, though.
JonesLive.com. There it is. Iran foreign minister accuses Israel of false flag after mysterious drone strike on Egyptian port. So we are entering the false flag zone here because Israel knows they're losing the information war. And they know that the U.S. is getting more and more towards trying to get out of the war. Trump privately and now even publicly wants that. So how are they going to keep us in the war? Well, we've had Israeli intelligence and military leaders come out and say the last few months, boy, a new 9/11 would sure help. And that's what I talked about yesterday, a nuclear false flag on Israel or on the U.S. or both. Trump being assassinated and being blamed on Iran. Then he becomes a martyr. Then Israel gets everything it wants. Trump has really helped lay the groundwork for that to happen and to make it more probable by saying if I am killed, it's Iran. And I've given orders that they be nuked, basically, or everything destroyed, a glowing crater. He didn't say nuked, but he did say nuked, basically.
Well, glowing crater means nuke. Pretty much that's the only thing that can do something like that. So, boy, Trump is really, he's really changed up. He's really changed up from what he originally was speaking on. No new wars, lowering taxes, doing all this. I mean, ugh.
And his surrogates have been saying use actual nuclear weapons. So doesn't Trump know that if Netanyahu could assassinate him in a minute towards getting everybody on board for total war, he would do it? So Trump has stuck his head in the news, and that is a big, big deal. But at the end of the day, it makes the whole world less safe. Israel's Greater Israel Project is going to make everybody less safe, including Israel. And then now Israel wants to take on Turkey and Egypt. And that means they want us to do that for them, which is completely not feasible unless we have a nuclear war, just like the Iran crisis. That's why we focus so much on the Iran situation and Ukraine as well, because it endangers the whole world. Meanwhile, we have the Democrat Socialists of America that's backbone is Muslims. You have the big universities teaching that America needs to be destroyed and that communism's good, and that Israel needs to be destroyed. So Israel's answer is to go into all the universities with a bunch of money and power and lawsuits and put their people in. And they say, oh, we're going to pass regulations and rules. And if you criticize Israel, you're kicked.
Well, that's the thing. They already have, if you look at a lot of the professors and a lot of the teachers within these organizations, schools, colleges, and all that, a lot of them already are of that origin. So it's not very hard to just go in and, finish it up. They're helping create the situation here
out
on
of
the
school
ground.
or whatever, or you can't get a government contract in 39 states. So we replaced leftist censorship with weird right-wing fake Israeli censorship, and it just never ends. And here I am yesterday going, wow, look.
That's because it turned on Israel. So what they were doing was creating the division in the first place because they already said they wanted to be the world superpower. And in order for that to happen, they have to get rid of America's ability to be the superpower. And how do you do that? You shut us down. If you look at all the NGOs and all the major people pushing people into Europe right now, like they just caught a J woman, I'll just call it that. I don't, they just caught her saying that, oh, come on in, telling migrants, come on in to Europe. It's all good. We want you here. And if you look at all the major NGOs, it's funded by that. It's funded by the people who are back in the greater I state, So, yeah, this is the wrap up, basically. if you really look at it, they've already accomplished a big part of their mission. And the last part is either start a civil war here or completely finish the job by letting the Democrat Party get in and finish up with this DSA, which is Democrat Socialists of America. If they could wrap America up like that, then we're done. That'll keep us busy here. Why they go ahead and take over the rest of the Middle East like they want to, the Greater Israel Project. And yeah, then they can just start their journey into becoming the world's superpower. Well, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have already said by the late 20th century, Israel will be the main hub of the financial world. They'll be the main hub of pretty much everything that goes down in our societies. And that'll be the control hub, not America. So you have to collapse us. You have to collapse Europe. They've already collapsed Canada pretty much. Australia never was a threat. Pretty much all the white countries have to be collapsed, because when we come together and when we stand strong, things actually move, things actually change. So you have to get rid of that power structure, that strength, the true strength, the real strength. Because let's be honest, we're the only ones in the world that have really moved and shaked anything. There's been other civilizations that have tried it, but none as good as us. You know what I mean? So what do you got to do? You got to get the power structure out of the way, create a new one, if you want to be the new controllers and new rulers, if you will. It's a very intricate plan, though. They've taken over the media. Who owns most of the social medias? And if you say one thing that they just don't like, you get banned instantly. Be damned with freedom of speech. Be damned with the reality, if you will. So, yeah, it's pretty smooth, pretty slick, right? Shield yourself from it all while you're creating it all. It's like the perfect F you. You know what I mean?
Look at the Muslims. They've overrun the Spanish area of Morocco, and you have the NGOs promoting that. And people are like, oh, Israel's behind it. And I'm like, what? And it is publicly. It's just like, is there anything Israel is involved in bad now?
Yeah. I guess that goes back to what I was just saying. Like they're everywhere. Well, it shows you he who cannot be talked about is the one doing it all. You know what I mean? It's like, because they're the ones, like I said, the shield, but throwing the knife at you at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like shield and dagger, basically. I'm whipping a dagger at you, but I'm holding the shield up so you can't come back at me with anything. And it's not something like I want to talk about either, but damn, like they really do have their hands into everything. And you can't help but listen to when they say, some of the most powerful men and women on the planet say Israel will be the power hub, they will be the control hub of the world. You don't want to sit here and say that stuff. You don't really, because it's like, you don't want to give credit to, to this one group of people so much, but my God, they really just have their hands wrapped around the world right now, and they're just like the puppet masters pulling the strings everywhere. And it's our faults, for allowing it, and it's our faults for letting it get to where it is too. At least in our realm of the world, over here, you didn't have to let them. We could have stood up sooner, could have said something a lot sooner and stopped it. Money though, greed rules the world, unfortunately. Not common sense and logic. Greed.
And again, I don't want to destroy Israel.
This is Spain right now. All these people just came in through this fence back over here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's a fence right over here. They're just running in 40,000. Holy God! Where I live, there's maybe 40, maybe 50,000 people in the surround, the whole area. Just imagine my entire city running into another. That's crazy. That's crazy to think, honestly. And what gives you the emboldenment to run? Like, you leave everything you have behind in this other country to come over here with nothing. I mean, it's not like they don't have backpacks. They don't have nothing. They just have the literal clothes on their back and shoes. And some of them, I don't even know if they have shoes. I mean, that's just wild, man. You just pick up and go like that, huh? That's an invasion. Look, it's all men. It's all fighting age men. If you can see this picture.
Israel's not going to get destroyed.
Yeah, look at that's all fighting age men. All lined up. They're all coming from this side right over here. Hey, oh, I mean, it looks like maybe a couple of them are hopping a fence, but they're all coming right here. That's all human beings right here. All along that entire coastline. Just coming in right here, right where the fence ends. Like they were guided. Like they were guiding missiles. And then there's other footage, and maybe Alex will show it here. They're trying to break into people's homes. One guy's like up on a terrace trying to rip the doors open or something. I don't know. It's
nuclear
crazy.
weapons. I'm not with the Muslims, but then Israel is with the Muslims against us. I can play you 100 rabbis.
Yeah, it's our destruction. It's our literal destruction. That's what they're in it for. That's what they want to do. They want to destroy us, take us out of the way so that they can become the new power structure. You have to overrun their. How else do you do it? They know that, like, missiles, and they can't do it with guns and missiles and other things. We're too powerful for that. So how do you do it? Start conflict within the country. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. So problem, send these people in. Reaction is from us, our reaction. Then they come up with the solution. Because you'll beg for safety. You'll give up your liberty for safety.
Some of the head ones in Israel saying, well, because of Pompeo, the emperor, 2000.
Which was Rome. That wasn't all white people. Rome was Greece and Italy. That was not England. That was not like the Poles or the Slavics, if you will, back then. Rome also took England over and took them into kind of like slavery, if you will, for a while. I don't think England got freed till like 500 years after Christ or something like that. I'd have to look it up, but basically they didn't even, England wasn't even England till like the year 600 or 700 even. They were England, they were Anglo-Saxon, but they were not England, and they were taken by the Romans as well. So, yeah, wow. 2,000-year-old grudge, like, get over it, bro. Move on. let's just move on. You know what I mean? There's a certain point where you got to go, hey, I'm moving on.
40-something years ago, in 70 AD, destroying our second temple. We made documentaries about it. The Eight Front War, Harrison made one, went viral. Now everybody's talking about it. I'm glad they are. And I have Israeli ministers saying, well, because the Romans did this to us, and we see the whole West as Roman, we're going to destroy you in the end using the Muslims. And we see the Muslims as less bad than you because they didn't destroy our temple. And I'm just like, whoa, dude, you think somebody in Spain or Italy knows about Titus and knows about Pompeo? Yeah. You think they are out? I mean, they're like, we don't care. We have a long grudge here. And so we're going to side with the Muslims against you and have NGOs flood you with them.
A long grudge? That's 2,000 years. How many generations of people is that even? That's more than a long grudge. That's like, I don't even know how to put that into words. Like, somebody in the past should have got over that and moved on. Holy God in heaven. And acting like, what, like you didn't do things wrong? I mean, you held slaves. You did all the same stuff everybody else did. What? What are we talking about? You tried to conquer lands.
Because we're going to get you. And I'm supposed to go, okay, that's sweet. I'm not anti-Semitic. Flood me with Muslims. like 2 years ago, Netanyahu floated the plan to ship 4 million Gazans to Europe and the United States. It's like, really? You fund Hamas to destabilize them so they never get good leadership that would be like Mahatma Gandhi and wouldn't fight you, so you wouldn't have an excuse to blow them up. You use them to oppress the people and radicalize them. And then you stand down on October 7th, so you have an excuse to launch this war and then attack all your neighbors for a Greater Israel project. Just a year ago, the ADL would call for you being banned if you talked about Greater Israel, said it didn't exist. Said they were replacement migration. And now they're like, no, it is replacement migration and it is a Greater Israel and you better support it. And that means drafting our children to go fight it. And I'm just like, you've cast yourself as the villain. You're taking over the Defense Authorization Act, Section 219.
Sorry, guys.
You're openly
in the middle of a show
saying you need to use the same tactics of exploding pagers you use on Hamas on the American people. You're paying billions of dollars to influencers to demonize any American that doesn't want to be in disastrous war. And you treat us like we're Hitler if we don't do everything you say. And then a lot of people.
But guys, number one ally. Number one ally. Greatest ever. Like, no. Nothing great about you, player. Yeah, that's oh wow. Like I was saying earlier, you say something, yeah, like I won't be surprised if I get kicked off of YouTube for this. So
just go, okay, well then I'll just join Hitler. Since you're calling me Hitler, I'll just say I'm Hitler. And so you're conjuring that, and I'm sitting here looking at all this going, this is not good for anybody.
Well, the whole thing about Hitler was they weren't even the most people that died. The Russians lost 22, 23 million people, something like that. I mean, that's such an old trope, too, at this point. That's so ridiculous.
This is evil. And the attitude of Netanyahu is, well, we've got to be the most ruthless in the world. That's our will. And so if other people are going to have dirty tactics, so are we. We'll do it better than them. And that attitude is what destroys civilization, where everybody becomes corrupt, everybody becomes cutthroat, because if I don't do it, somebody else will. Instead of being strong, peace through strength, moral, superior technology, superior culture, leadership through soft power. Soft power is what really wins in the modern age. When you go for war in the modern age, it always degenerates. And you can't just have endless war because of the nuclear weapons, the bioweapons, and the huge third world populations that will starve during larger wars because the resources being cut off. Then they collapse into the first world and it brings down the entire system. And that's what real experts and
all by design. That's the thing. It's all by design. They want to do it because then they can replace that, because nature abhors a vacuum and there has to be a structure. You know what I mean? When you have civilizations like this, there has to be a power structure, a main one. That's why, back in the day it was Egypt, then Rome. Then you had the Muslims for a little while, Then you had England, you know what I mean? Then now America. Like there always has to be that one particular power structure. The Mongols, you know what I mean? Like there always has to be, there always has been, and there always will be that one power structure that kind of locks the planet down from pure chaos. Even though they might be chaotic, it will still lock. It's still enough to lock down the planet, if you will, to stop, just utter chaos everywhere. It seems like that's the nature of the beast. So they want to replace that with them being the power structure. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clear.
Real futurists have been warning us for decades.
But the problem is it's false power on their end. It's not earned power. It's not deserved power. It's taken from the real people who really do deserve it, because we built it up and did it the right way.
That the old paradigm of using wars for control and using destabilization and crisis creation for control is going to get out of hand and get everybody killed. What does it matter if you've got all these billionaires and trillions of dollars if there's nowhere safe to spend it or use it or have it? And you've
they don't want you
created.
They don't want you to. They do want to replace that system with CBDCs. So they want to crash that system, but they just want to do it in a nice enough way to where they can come out at the end and still control it. You know what I mean? Like they have to crash that system and then take complete control through CBDC so that nobody else can come behind them. It's the cleanup. You know what I mean? So they have to fully take that system over, destroy it, and then create a brand new one where nobody else can come in behind them. Because you better believe China's watching everything we're doing, and they have not been able to bring China in. So how they're going to rein China in after they're done doing all that is by force. I got a feeling they're going to say, well, the whole planet's against you. We have the whole rest of the planet on lockdown besides probably Russia and China, and they'll be the last two men standing. Look at everywhere there's not a central bank. I think China has its own central bank. Russia has its own central bank, but it's not controlled by our central bankers. And the 7 countries they wanted to take over that general talked about back in the day when he went into the Pentagon were all countries that did not have, like Iran. Iran does not have a central bank. So why are they going after Iran? It's for multitudes of reasons. It's not, oh, they want to get a nuke. That's the front. That's the front. That's your reasoning for them to go in. They have an underlying plan behind them, backing them up. You know what I mean? Like their real plan, and then here's the front, you know, but really, you know, it's like, look what the left's doing, but you know, the right hand's free doing whatever it wants. That's the analogy there. So the nuke thing is not a reality. And at this point, I really believe if Iran had one, they might have used it because they've been getting bombed to hell. So yeah, there's so much more to it than just that one dynamic. And if you want to change the power structure, it's violent. It's not a polite overthrow. It's always violence. When Rome wanted to change its, you know, leaders out, what they do? They kill them. You know, and Egypt the same thing. Well, they gave him an honorable death or an honorable burial, I should say, but they still killed him. So what do you have to do to change the power? You have to kill the old power to consume its power to become the new power structure. And it's never nice. It's never nice.
Stabilized world so that you can control everybody through the destabilization. Finally, It blows back on you.
There it is.
And there's so many crises that have been created, it all just gets out of hand. And that's already where we are. And that's what the Pentagon told Trump. Don't do this. It'll trigger a global depression. And then a chain reaction. They said that in the report. 2 weeks ago, they put out another report, updated, saying the same thing and leaked it. It's not because the Pentagon are wimps. It's not because they don't like war once they can win. You know, if it's for American interest, but this is not for our interest. And at the end of the day, it's not even for Israel's interest. It's for Netanyahu's interest to stay in power by being a wartime president.
I kind of agree and disagree in a way. It is in Israel's interest in the end game. If you peer into the future and you look at the end game, it is in their interest, right? Because if their interest is to become the new world superpower, then it's in their interest to knock this out. It's also in Netanyahu's interest because once this war is over and he's no longer a wartime president or whatever he is, whatever they call their guy over there, he then will be going to trial and have to face these charges that he's had on him for the last 5 or 6 years. So that I don't like, why can't they just take him into court now? You can switch people out. You can, prime minister, that's what he is. you can switch prime ministers in the middle of a war. Why can't you? You're not taking out the whole central power structure. You're just taking out one man. Unless everybody folds with them, unless the story is if you take them out, we go with them. Then I guess you're destroying the whole power structure. But really, it's just one man. I don't see why he can't be, removed if it per se, you know what I mean? Or at least the beginning of the procedure. It's just a weird thing.
A wartime prime minister. And you see Lindsey Graham and all these telephone calls they've now released. I see you guys another one where he's on the phone with Netanyahu talking about staging stuff in crises to get rid of the International Criminal Court, which is illegitimate. But the whole point is, what is a foreign government working with our government in policy to do that? Not through Congress. And then we've got this other news. We'll put that up on screen. It's being reported, even in the Israeli newspapers, that the Iranians are saying that they did not attack the Egyptian port by the Strait of, by the Suez Canal, and that drone attack was a false flag to try to drag them into war against Iran. And Egypt says they don't know who did it right now, but are investigating whether or not it's a false flag attack. So we can put that article that's at alexjoneslive.com. If you want to see the details and read about that, it's at alexjoneslive.com. But Egypt analyzing drone fragments from port strike, warn of escalation. That's out of the Defense Post. But if you can go to Alex Jones.
What's Egypt going to do if they find out that it was Israel? Like, that's my question. Are they actually going to do something, or is it just going to be... Sorry, guys. Thought I was getting another call. It'll just be talks. Not going to do nothing. Ukraine bombed Poland on accident with one accident. Let me do some air quotes. Accident. Oops. I'm going to hit you with a drone. Oops. Or I think it was a missile, but nonetheless.
Live.com. I can just pull up my phone to show you. You can see our article that deals with that. There it is. Iran foreign minister accuses Israel of false flag after mysterious drone strike on Egyptian port. So we are entering the false flag zone here because Israel knows they're losing the information war. And they know that the U.S. is getting more and more towards trying to get out of the war. Trump privately and now even publicly wants that. So how are they going to keep us in the war? Well, we've had Israeli intelligence and military leaders come out and say the last few months, boy, a new 9/11 would sure help. And that's what I talked about yesterday, a nuclear false flag on Israel or on the U.S. or both. Trump being assassinated and being blamed on Iran. Then he becomes a martyr. Then Israel gets everything he wants. Trump has really help lay the groundwork for that to happen.
I would hope not. I do get what Alex is saying here, and I kind of believe it too, that, it is a setup for something to happen. But at the same time, that's a big... How many people in America, and you can leave a comment in the chat section, how many of you would actually believe it was Iran at this point? With all the shady things that are going down and everything that's happening, how many of you would actually believe that it were, that it was, nobody. I wish I could take a poll on here, but I can't. But nonetheless, nobody would believe that. Nobody. There's no way I could take that seriously. That Iran did it. It's too hyped up. It's too much. You put it out there too much. Something like that happens, you don't preempt something like that. So that's the problem with it, is they've preempted it. They preset it into your mind. And too many people are awake to that type of stuff anymore.
Happen.
I'd like to think.
and to make it more probable by saying if I am killed, it's Iran, and I've given orders that they be nuked, basically, or everything destroyed, a glowing crater. He didn't say nuked, but he did say nuked, basically. And his surrogates have been saying use actual nuclear weapons. So doesn't Trump know that if Netanyahu could assassinate him in a minute towards getting everybody on board for total war, he would do it? So Trump has stuck his head in the news, and that is a big, big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, Bigley has launched an online pharmacy, 1776rx.health.
Yeah, I would think that most Americans at this point would never believe that, because we've watched it time and time again throughout history. So yeah, that I almost believe that that's a no-go.
שוב ושוב להתייצב נגד ישראל. מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת לא יהיה שותף שלנו לגבי עתיד האזור. אני לא מוכן לסבול את הצביעות הזאת ואת העוינות הזאת. אני לא מתכוון לאפשר לאף מדינה לנהל נגדנו מלחמה מדינית בלי לשלם על כך מחיר מיידי.
That was Netanyahu. I saw that earlier. I was trying to get to that. That's the part where they were in on it, that he's telling Muslims to go in there and invade. So if you didn't think that they were involved in it, it came out of the horse's mouth. Now, he didn't exactly, after Spain has chosen repeatedly
שוב ושוב להתייצב
stand
נגד
against
ישראל.
Israel,
מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת לא יהיה שותף שלנו לגבי עתיד האזור. אני לא מוכן לסבול את הצביעות הזאת ואת העוינות הזאת. אני לא מתכוון לאפשר לאף מדינה לנהל נגדנו
to wage a diplomatic war against us. Okay, so
מלחמה
he
מדינית
is saying it
בלי לשלם על כך מחיר מיידי.
without paying an immediate price. Like, that's literally telling them to go in there and do it. So yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm rarely blindsided, but yesterday when I got off air, in some of my videos I posted about this that were going viral, I saw comments going, as usual, Jones is covering up for Israel. Why don't you tell us that Netanyahu's behind this? And I went, what? This is just some crazy, person that thinks if you follow banana peel, it's Israel.
Yeah, look at that's a guy
who just,
that's a guy standing on a ledge or on like an air conditioner or something and kicking in somebody's window trying to get into their home. Wow.
Always accuse me of covering for Israel, which isn't true. It's just some neurotic knee-jerk, reflex. And then I click it, and then I spend the next 2 hours reading Netanyahu statements, State Department statements by Marco Rubio, and videos of Netanyahu. We'll get to some of these, saying, indeed, starting last year, we invite the Muslims to invade not just the enclaves in Morocco, but also any other European country that has enclaves like France in their former territorial colonial holdings, to overrun those and then to invade and overrun Europe. And it's Netanyahu saying, once you've conquered all of Morocco, you can easily more conquer Spain. So this is Netanyahu siding with the radical Islamicists who captured their ancestors, Spain, and held it for almost 700 years. The Crusades started with the La Reconquista. It took 400 years, or 300 plus, to retake Spain. 300 plus years. And
wow. That's crazy. 300 plus years, 700 years in total. And now we're just allowing this again. So a remake of the past all over again. Crazy.
Then the larger crusades began when England, Scotland, France got involved, because the Muslims were getting all the way up to the edge of France, overrun part of Poland. The Russians held them off, so did the Serbs. So we had 700 years of the Muslims attacking us. And so this is just a replay of that same war. Wars basically never end. They just continue on until one enemy is completely vanquished. Islam started 1,400 years ago and has grown like a cancer since then. But I was like, what, Israel? And I was like, come on, that's not true. And then I went down the rabbit hole and it's all true. So I didn't even know about that. So I'm glad that folks were accusing me of things that weren't true, because it helped me learn about that. Would have just been easier to say, hey, did you know about this? I'm just completely blown away. It just never ends. And you have the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal trying to make excuses for it. Also saw commenters saying, oh, there's no Muslim invasion. This is their area. This is Morocco. They use Morocco to invade across the narrow strait there to the Gibraltar. That's the entrance to the Mediterranean right there. Very strategic. It's the reason Spain took it. It was because they were tired of the Moors that took them hundreds of years to kick out. That's the North African Muslims to kick out of Spain. And they had to have other Europeans come in and help, which we were obviously happy to do. It's time for Crusades 2.0, La Reconquista de Spain.
Look at that. Morocco. Is this just this little area here we're talking about? Is that it? And then, oh, here's the mainland, of course. Okay, so they pushed the Muslims out of here and then pushed them all the way back to over here. Or they just, then they probably came across and started whipping their ass over here. And then kept this little spot as maybe like a fort, I'm guessing, back then. Probably just kept men there so that they could never get back across and come at them again. That would actually make sense. And then that's Morocco.
And they had to have other Europeans come in and help, which we were obviously happy to do. It's time for Crusades 2.0, La Reconquista 2.0.
Yep.
They then went and took that key point there, because that's the equivalent of the Strait of Hormuz, basically. And now Israel and the State Department came out a few months ago and said, yes, it's legitimate for the Arabs, the Moroccans, to take this from Spain. So as much as I don't like the communists that run Spain and all the terrible things they've done, the fact that they invited the invasion, to then have Netanyahu and our own government then side with the Muslims to overrun the Spanish and overrun the rest of Europe that certainly don't deserve this, is truly evil. And it gives you a mindset into the Machiavellian nature of Netanyahu. But it's really not even Machiavelli. He thinks it is.
Okay, so they just controlled this little part right here. Right off the coast. Strait of Gibraltar. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. And then that goes into the Mediterranean.
Attack somebody just because they don't support your war with the very Muslims you supposedly are fighting, and then not think about the fact that what happens once the Muslims conquer Europe. They're certainly not going to be friendly to Israel.
Right, so they have something here, and then they have another one right here. So that would be right here, and then right in here. Okay.
It is not thinking second, third, fourth order, but it really is. What the Netanyahu types do is they say, no, we understand second, third, fourth order, but we're not going to do one decision based on the bad developments that could happen. We're going to make whatever decision we want that's the most brutal, the most vicious, the most powerful, and then we'll attack the other problems that creates later and actually use those problems to our own advantage. And a perfect example is Israel helping found Hamas in '79, giving them tens of billions of dollars. Netanyahu doubling their funding about 2 years before October 7th, having the Israeli military stand down, which is admitted, for 7.5 hours so that they can get maximum death toll. Yeah, killed a bunch of Jews and people, but to Netanyahu, that's a pawn sacrifice to get everybody stirred up and for total war. And he's even said, oh, this war is going to be great for our nationalism and for the strength of our people. They need rough times to be strong. So it's very Nietzschean. And so Trump came out today, you can pull this up, and said, it's time for Spain to get tough and seal your borders. and it's time for you to deport these people. And I bet Trump doesn't even know that Rubio and Netanyahu, because I didn't know this. People think I know everything. All the time I see, hey, why aren't you covering this? Well,
7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles a day, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. Men.
Okay, hold on. I'll show you guys what this is. So I just kind of found this. This is called Chapter 24 of Q, the series. We reviewed the 16-year plan to destroy America, Episode 4, Judgment Day intro. So let's watch this. Let's check this out. I'm curious to see what that's about.
And go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. 7, 6, 11, 5, 4, 17.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Interesting. So what is this exactly about? Okay. Well, rest in peace, my friend. I don't really know you, but okay, let's hear it.
Had to be protected was because he was writing her on that secret server using an alias, which shows that he damn well knew and had approved in advance her use of the secret unsecured server. On top of that, there's the Anthony Weiner laptop, 675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Holy God. Kept all that on one laptop. Wow. That's a lot of info for one laptop. They must have never thought they'd get caught.
In a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary, and it included what Comey called the golden emails because they were the BlackBerry backup emails that they were supposed.
Oh, that she supposedly smashed or something like that? Yeah. Well, not supposedly. She did. Didn't she admit to doing it?
Supposedly just looking for everywhere very diligently. Well, guess what they did when they found him on the Weiner laptop? They got a search warrant for things that didn't include the BlackBerry backup emails. So when they told us, when he stood there and said that day, oh, you know, we've reviewed all the emails now, there's nothing there, that was a bald-faced lie. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop. In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
You guys know what this represents? Well, memories that come before the storm. Western storm. It could be from the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
In this episode, we are first going to review the important Q Post 570. Then we will look at Q Proofs 51 to 75. And finally, we will review some of Q's earlier drops and the Q timeline. After 8 years of President Barack Obama, the country felt different. The Republic was weakened, divided, ripe for the fall. When Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election, no one could have predicted what came next. First the virus and its endless strains, then the lockdowns, the mandatory vaccinations, and finally the camps. After the financial collapse, most of those still huddled in the cities never survived World War III. The Republic had fallen, but that was a different timeline. This is the timeline of Q plus Trump.
Oh, let me go back to it. I thought it would make it bigger. It didn't. That's kind of weird, honestly. Oh, where did I lose it? Oh, no. Hold on, guys. I'll find it. I'm kind of interested in that 15-year plan to destroy America. Well, whatever it is, it's working. I'll tell you that. Oh, here it is. All right, let's go back to it here.
11, 5.
Things that didn't include the Blackberry.
And finally, we will review some of Q's earlier drops and the Q timeline. Barack Obama, the country felt different. The Republic was weakened, divided, ripe for the fall. When Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election, no one could have predicted what came next.
She didn't, though. So is this some sort of imaginary thing?
First the virus and its endless strains, then the lockdowns, the mandatory vaccinations, and finally the camps. After the financial collapse, most of those still huddled in the cities never survived World War III. The Republic had fallen, but that was a different timeline. This is the timeline of Q plus Trump.
We provided many proofs that cannot be disputed as concedence. This was done for a reason. I need some graphics like that. Where can I get that?
The The NSA's Security and Counterintelligence Directorate, also known as the Q Group, is the agency's internal police force. Eli Lake of the Daily Beast broke the news that the Q Group has been hunting Snowden for weeks, and the Q Group is trying to suss out any connections Snowden may have to foreign governments.
Mr. Snowden was well aware of encryption keys and technology.
Edward Snowden just dropped another video recently. I'd like to try to find that. Man, that guy really put his ass on the line. He really did. He's dropped a lot of great knowledge. I mean, he had all the inside knowledge, so.
That he can use to try to
him and Julian Assange. Man, that poor guy, Julian Assange, like, they tried to kill him multiple times. Insanity.
Cloak his movements in cyberspace. So right now it is, I would imagine, a bit of a cat and mouse game in terms of the people who are hunting him and the hunted whistleblower.
The 16-year plan to destroy America. In the shadowy corners of online forums, a chilling narrative has emerged. A purported 16-year blueprint orchestrated by the deep state to dismantle the United States from within. This theory posits that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were key architects in a multi-phase operation aimed at weakening and ultimately obliterating American sovereignty to pave the way for a new world order. Q gives a detailed breakdown of this sinister plan in Q Drop 570 from the 21st of the 1st, 2008.
Didn't they do that in 1913? When they signed the Federal Reserve Act? When we became a corporation. Anybody remember that? You know, it's funny to me how people, they deny all that, but they just won't go read the 1913 paperwork that proves it, and then how it was signed into action in 1933, something like that. So, yeah, it was officialized or something like that. I'll look it up and I'll have it. We'll get back to it, but so wasn't America already destroyed by then? When they made you a social security card and they made you a birth certificate, and that made you a separate entity that they could do business with, and that your birth certificate is traded on a private stock market, and all you are is cattle. Yeah, I think pretty much then they kind of sealed that deal, but you know.
18. The 16-year plan to destroy America was a plan divided into two 8-year segments. Obama's tenure from 2008 to 2016 focused on global weakening, and Clinton's intended presidency from 2016 to 2024 geared towards total destruction. According to Q, this plan was a meticulously crafted deep state agenda involving Satan-worshipping elites, globalist cabals, and covert operations to enslave the public. It included elements like weaponized disease, mass drought, food shortages, and nuclear escalation to cripple the nation. But the election of Donald Trump in 2016 and his subsequent return to the White House in 2025 derailed this plot, with the anonymous figure known as Q playing a pivotal role in exposing it through cryptic online drops. The first half of the plan under Obama was designed to erode America's strength on the world stage by installing corrupt elements, funding adversaries, and undermining domestic institutions. Q posts have exposed Obama as a puppet of globalists like George Soros and the Rothschilds.
Which, if anybody was paying attention, that was already exposed long before Q, but all right. I'm in so far.
Working to soften the United States for the final blow. Obama's phase, weakening the United States globally from 2008 to 2016. Install rogue operators in government. Obama placed deep state loyalists in key positions, such as in intelligence agencies, to spy on Americans and manipulate policy. Remove good guys from government. This involved purging patriotic officials who opposed the agenda. Q points to the firing of military leaders and whistleblowers, framing it as eliminating resistance to global.
You know what's funny is Michael Flynn on Alex Jones' show admitted to being the first Q. That he posted the very first Q post and that he was Q. So he admitted it. So a lot of the stuff they're using is probably posted from this man right here, Michael Flynn. He admitted that he had originated the Q post and started it because of this reason right here, what had happened. And that it ended up getting taken over, he believed, by military or CIA backed, not, them necessarily, but you know how that goes. And he ended up stopping his post with it because he noticed that they were getting picked up on Reddit and other places by other people saying they were Q. But Michael Flynn actually was the very originator of the Q post, QAnon.
Infiltration, fund terrorism, MS-13 and ISIS. Obama supported terrorist groups like MS-13 gangs and ISIS through indirect funding, or lax policies linked to border weaknesses, allowing gang influx and CIA backing of ISIS to destabilize the Middle East. Leak classified intel military secrets. High-profile leaks during Obama's era are viewed not as hacks but as intentional disclosures to weaken the United States military edge. Special Access Program Sell-Off. This refers to selling sensitive programs, including uranium deals tied to the Uranium One scandal, which Q claims enriched Clinton while arming adversaries. Nuclearized North Korea and Iran. Obama's Iran nuclear deal enabled Iran's nuclear ambitions and failing to curb North Korea's program, setting the stage for global threats. Cut military funding. Budget sequestrations under Obama slashed defense spending, weakening troop readiness and innovation. Weaken NSA reveal programs. The Snowden revelations were a deliberate exposure to limit the NSA capabilities against the deep state enemies. Snowden was activated to attack the NSA and not the CIA, despite spending his entire career as a CIA agent. Fund and supply North Korea and Iran. To rogue states to installing corrupt elements, funding adversaries, and undermining domestic institutions. Q posts have exposed Obama as a puppet of intelligence agencies to spy on America.
Sorry guys, I accidentally clicked the wrong button there. Oh, now you're gonna spin. Really? Yeah. Whatever. Snowden worked. I thought Snowden worked for NSA, not CIA. So maybe there's a mix-up there because, that's what I thought at least. I thought he was a part of the NSA. He was a CIA agent. Interesting. I did not actually know that.
Install rogue operators in government. Obama placed deep state. Fund terrorism, MS-13 and ISIS. Obama supported terrorist groups like MS-13 gangs and ISIS through indirect funding, or lax policies linked to border weaknesses, allowing gang influx and CIA backing of ISIS to destabilize the Middle East. Leak classified intel military secrets. High-profile leaks during Obama's era are viewed not as hacks but as intentional disclosures to weaken the United States military edge. Special Access Program Sell-Off. This refers to selling sensitive programs, including uranium deals tied to the Uranium One scandal, which Q claims enriched Clinton while arming adversaries. nuclearize North Korea and Iran. Obama's Iran nuclear deal enabled Iran's nuclear ambitions, and failing to curb North Korea's program, setting the stage for global threats. Cut military funding. Budget sequestrations under Obama slashed defense spending, weakening troop readiness and innovation. Weaken NSA reveal programs. The Snowden revelations were a deliberate exposure to limit the NSA capabilities against the deep state enemies. Snowden was activated to attack the NSA.
You see the top of that newspaper where they were showing Snowden doesn't want to live, it said NSA whistleblower. It didn't say CIA whistleblower. It said NSA whistleblower.
And not the CIA, despite spending his entire career as a CIA agent. Fund and supply North Korea and Iran. Covert aid to rogue states to provoke conflicts. Weaken command of generals. Obama demoted or retired over 200 generals who were too America first, replacing them with compliant figures. Target and weaken the conservative base. Through IRS scandals targeting conservative groups and cultural shifts, this aimed to suppress opposition voices. Stage the Supreme Court. Appointments like Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan are seen as stacking the court with liberal justices to erode constitutional protections. Q also references the death or murder of Associate Justice of the Supreme Court Antonin Scalia. Kill NASA and the United States space supremacy. Budget cuts to NASA aimed to cede space dominance to China and Russia. Relax borders, flood illegals, new Democrat voters. Open border policies import voters and criminals, diluting American citizenship. Q ties these to a broader coup involving Obama, Clinton, and Soros, with the goal of creating chaos for New World Order control. Clinton's phase, destroy the United States and the rise of the New World Order, 2016 to 2024. Had Clinton won in 2016, she would have escalated to outright destruction, installing a totalitarian regime under the guise of globalism. This phase builds on Obama's weakening, leading to enslavement and economic collapse. World War III, real and orchestrated. Clinton planned to provoke a global war, possibly through escalations in Syria or Ukraine, blending real conflicts with false flags. Revised Constitution. This would involve amendments to limit freedoms such as speech or assembly to consolidate power. Close United States military bases globally. Shuttering overseas bases to...
Okay, so Clinton was supposed to do that. Doesn't that seem like what Donald Trump is kind of doing right now? Bombing Iran, closing military bases. I mean, well, you know, forced closed because Iran bombed them and will never open them again because it's going to cost way too much. I mean, well, I guess the goal was not to bomb Iran, especially if you armed them. I don't know, because it seems a lot like what Trump is kind of doing right now. So,
to isolate America and reduce its influence. Ban the sale of firearms, repeal amendment. A direct assault on the Second Amendment to disarm the populace. Destroy censor opposing news outlets. Using regulations or smears to silence conservative media such as accusations of being a foreign agent. Eliminate the final good guys in government. Purge remaining patriots, completing the deep state takeover.
I mean, that is what Biden did. If you look at Biden's administration, he did all of this. He did a lot of this, I should say. And he did close the base in Afghanistan. And he did purge our military of a lot of the patriots and put in a lot of the DEI hires and a lot of other things. So they did get part of their plan through, keeping Trump out from the last 4 years prior.
All corrupt Supreme Court justices. Appoint more liberals to rewrite laws favoring the cabal. Open borders. Fully eliminate borders, flooding the country with migrants for demographic shifts. Population control, pocket billions. Through policies like eugenics or vaccines, control populations while elites profit billions. Kill the economy, starve enslaved public. Economic sabotage via regulations leading to dependency and enslavement under the World Economic Forum's Communist Great Reset, where you will own nothing but will be.
Which is still in play, because now they just changed it to Agenda 2030. And so that's all still in play. Most of this is still in play. And that's not what they're covering here, though.
Happy. Remove the Electoral College, install the popular vote. Shift to popular vote to favor urban, Democrat-heavy areas. Limit remove military funding. Further defund the military to prevent resistance. These steps per Q would culminate in the rise of the New World Order with America as a vassal state. How Trump and Q stopped the plan. A counteroffensive. They never thought she would lose. Captures the turning point. Trump's 2016 victory halted Clinton's phase. Trump was recruited by military patriots to expose the cabal, with Q dropping intel starting in 2017 to awaken the public to the Great Awakening. Trump's policies are seen as direct reversals of this deep state plan. Reversing military weakening. Trump increased military funding by billions, rebuilt forces, and created Space Force to restore NASA supremacy, countering cuts and space kill-off. Border security. Initiatives like the border wall and immigration crackdown stopped relaxed borders and open borders blocking voter floods. Supreme Court appointments. Nominating 3 conservative justices, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, thwarted staging and corrupt installations.
Yeah, where's this Trump at now? This is the Trump I voted for right here. Where's that at now? Unless I'm missing the plot here.
Protecting the Constitution.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Economic revival. Trump's tax cuts and deregulation killed the plan to starve the economy, fostering growth until COVID disruptions, which Q blames on deep state bioweapons. Foreign policy shifts. Denuclearization talks with North Korea and scrapping the Iran deal neutralized nuclearization threats. Fighting deep state elements. Investigations into leaks, FBI reforms, and draining the swamp removed rogue operators and good guy purges. Media and censorship. Trump's fake news rhetoric and support for alternative outlets resisted destroying opposing news. Gun rights defense. Trump upheld the Second Amendment, blocking bans. Electoral integrity. Efforts to investigate voter fraud countered Electoral College removal. In the end, Donald Trump's unexpected 2016 victory and triumphant 2024 return shattered the 16-year plan as laid out in QDrop 570, proving that the deep state's carefully orchestrated path to a new world order could be derailed by a resilient republic and an awakened populace. Where we go one, we go all.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more must-see videos.
I hit a like on that.
Seven, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today.
Check out that channel.
11, 17, 32 the day before.
I have to check that out. What's this? Trump champagne. Interesting. What in the world? Wow. And everybody's just allowing it, huh? All right.
People go give them to the courthouse, get them fingerprint them, give them 6 months to do that, and then at the end of the 6 months,
Mike Lindell.
these employers could never employ.
He's running for governor of Minnesota. I hope he gets it. Good God, Minnesota needs a change because holy crap, have they fallen hard. I don't even want to go there. I live on the border with Minnesota, so yeah, I don't even want to go to that ish hole. It's crazy.
Illegals that didn't have that card, which they already have. It was trying to solve a problem here in Minnesota. It wasn't an amnesty, but I will tell you this. Now that this is all blown up, I realized I couldn't do that anyway to have them come in and get fingerprinted in 6 months, because then I would be doing the same thing as our current government's doing with Waltz and them, protecting illegals and giving them these cards to vote in our elections and drive on our streets. So what I was proposing was,
I did a report on my show today, and then we posted it on X at Real Alex Jones, and it got.
Yeah. So Mike Lindell, God bless his soul, man. That guy really went to war for America, tried to expose all the voter fraud, tried to expose everything. They basically pulled an Alex Jones on him. You're guilty because I say so. Not allowing him to produce evidence, not allowing him to gather evidence or anything like that. Basically, you're guilty because we say so. Oh, and here's a $5 billion fine on top of it, or lawsuit, with no evidence backing up anything. He was not allowed to subpoena their records. He was not allowed to produce any evidence that would prove him right, or why he got led down that path in the first place. I mean, my God. I hope he wins the governorship in Minnesota. Minnesota needs a change or it's going to fall. And it's such a beautiful state, too. It's so crazy to see all this happen like that.
Flooded with Israeli bots and influencers saying that I'm insane, I'm totally crazy, to talk about Netanyahu openly saying last year during Midnight Hammer and this year when Spain wouldn't authorize.
Openly saying. And we watched the video where he openly said it. So
B-2 bombers flying out of there, that he would work with the Arabs in North Africa, namely Morocco, to take over areas that Spain controls there and has had for hundreds of years, and use that to flood Europe. There's news articles, there's statements, there's speeches of him. I played clips on the show, and they said I was making it up. So I guess Israel didn't drag us into this war. I guess Israel isn't primarying our leaders that are against the war. I guess Israel isn't bragging about AIPAC controlling Congress. I guess Israel isn't trying to merge our military in the Defense Authorization Act of 20.
Oh, that's another thing. I totally forgot about that because it hasn't been mentioned in a while. The Defense Authorization Act, merging our two militaries and then denying it. And then Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and all of them went on a total rant of why it would be a good idea to do that. So is it not happening or is it happening? Which one? Why don't you make our mind up for us?
2027? No, it's all happening. You guys keep lying, and that's why Israel's losing the information war as the most unpopular country in the world right now. I didn't want to get up this morning and attack Israel. It was my listeners pointed out yesterday when I talked about the Moroccan invasion of the Muslims that said, hey, weren't you covering this with Netanyahu? And I went and looked at all the clips and all this stuff, and I'd forgotten about him last year threatening that. And so I'll post a few news articles here and put some more links in. But this has been going on forever. They want to send the Gazan refugees to the U.S. and Europe. This is crazy. So stop denying the Greater Israel Project. Stop denying what's going on. Stop denying AIPAC. And stop denying that they threatened Spain with this. By the way, I don't like the communist leadership of Spain. I don't like what they're doing. So get that straight. But also stand with the people of Spain who were invaded by the Muslims. It took hundreds of years to kick them out. So we need Crusades 2.0. We need sovereignty. Okay? And it's that simple. And it's Israel working with Hamas, funding them, founding them. Israel working with Al-Qaeda to take over Syria. Now Trump says he may use Al-Qaeda to go liberate Lebanon. This is crazy. I don't stand with Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, and all these people. I stood against Obama and the Arab Spring, all the rest of it. This is just the facts. I'm sorry. I know the region and know the facts. Sorry, I told you the war wouldn't be won quickly and that they closed the Strait of Hormuz. And you guys said it was end in 4 days. You guys were wrong. I was right. You're discredited. And this is killing our economy and destroying our chance of the midterms. And that's the facts.
Yeah, we're so screwed in the midterms. We are so screwed. Like, Trump could not have picked the worst time to start bombing Iran. I mean, at least wait till after the midterms are over. And what he should have done was focus really hard on our economy, on America, and kind of let that simmer in the back and brew. And that way we could go into the midterms clean. And now it's going to be all out warfare in the midterms. It's going to be so many blows thrown left, right. You're not going to, oh man, he screwed us. He screwed us for the midterms. He really did. Unless some sort of miracle happens, which I'm not seeing it yet. And we're getting close. Like, November's not that far away. I mean, it's, what, August, September, October? I mean, 3 months. That's really not that far away, especially when you got to start campaigning and get yourself out there. I mean, he threw a monkey wrench into these plans because the main topic is going to be this war. No matter what you've done for the economy past, we did watch, that QAnon video or whatever that was, Truth Bomb on Twitter. Here, you can go look them up. Whatever that was, yes, he did all that good stuff, but all of that right now is absolutely erased by what he did with Iran. And that's the problem. You erased all your good legacy and everything, your best foot forward, you just erased it all with one swoop.
You're the guys that are just absolutely out of your minds. I'm not a panicking. I'm being a sovereign America standing up for what's right, and I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm proud of being so accurate. Follow me on X right here at Real Alex Jones and on rumble.com/Alex Jones Live, and our new news site that's exploding, AlexJonesLive.com. Find the live show.
You know what? Take these.
All right, guys. I am going to get off here. I appreciate you guys coming in. Have a great Friday. Tomorrow's August 1st. Have a good weekend. I will be on tomorrow, probably a little earlier than my normal days. I'm getting off because I'm going to go meet my brother at the gym. And I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Friday night. I suggest you do the same. And the best thing we can do, if I could give you guys any advice, it all starts local. It's fun to watch all this and to know what's going on around us in the big picture. But there's also a smaller picture. It all depends on what you do where you live, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your local government, all of your localized stuff. It starts from somewhere, and it has to start from the ground up. And in order to rebuild, we have to start from the ground up. So what I would recommend, if you can run for city comp, the mayor, whatever other positions are open that you can legally get into, that you may not have a degree, but you don't need one for those positions, school board, I suggest start being a part of your local community first, because it all boils down to that. The big picture game is good. that's where we need to focus on who we're hiring to put in there. And the only way to stop that is we have to quit voting establishment. We have to start picking the odd man out and sending them up there with an agreement. The agreement is this: we're going to give you this chance, because every one of their midterms are always 2 years later. We don't have to vote you back in. So either you go in there, represent us, do what you're supposed to do, or you're out. We have to get used to changing people in and out, and not voting the same old heads in. The very definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting change. So we have to stop voting the same people in, and we have to vote somebody new, and we have to be willing to vote somebody new in after that. Every time we go up to elect somebody, we have to think about, if we need to change them out, we need to change them out. You don't think twice about changing your underwear. You don't think twice about changing your socks, taking a shower, doing all that. Same thing. It has to be the same way. It cannot be personal. This is business. And if we're sending you to go stand on business, stand on 10 toes, and you don't, you stand on 5 or none even, or whatever the case may be, you're out. We're done with you. And we'll find somebody else to replace you. There's always somebody willing to go do the job. We just have to quit accepting the norm and quit becoming a part of the norm by willing to be the agent of change. And that means changing these politicians in and out like underwear. Get them out. See ya. Throw you in a clothes basket, new pair. Bye. And that's my best advice, is we have to change our mindset and the way we think and how we operate if we want change. That's the only way it happens. It starts with you, starts locally, and then it moves forward from there. All right, guys. Have a wonderful Friday. And I will be on tomorrow, August 1st. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace out. And good night.